Palo Alto Networks Firewall, PAN-OS update configuration. Well, more of the software itself, the operating system. What does it take to actually upgrade the operating system on my PAN-OS firewall? So as we kind of dive into everything here, it really is kind of interesting to think about what it takes to upgrade software on my firewalls, and how often do I do that? Well, I mean, you do it whenever you need to. Remember, we had dynamic updates and stuff like that. We've already been through all of that stuff as far as my normal routine maintenance on things. But every once in a while, it becomes important to look at the base system that you're actually running and possibly upgrade for new features, or in my case, I'm getting ready to do some high availability. So one of the catchy things is I've got two firewalls right here, so Lab 1 and Lab 2, or Firewall 1, Firewall 2, but they're running completely different versions of software. Kind of makes it difficult to do a highly available cluster where everything should be the same. So one of them I have on a really old version, 5.0.12 right here. I see that. And then my other one has been upgraded to 6.02. Still not the latest and greatest for that particular train, but at least tells me that things have been stable, I've been working with it, I'm comfortable with it. So that's what I'm going to end up going towards, is I'll go for the 6.0 line. I believe we're up to 6.08 now, but we'll see what things there are. Okay. So what I can do is simply go to my device page and then scroll down to software itself. Now this will tell me the last list that happened to be looked at or anything on there, what we've seen, and I can always just do a check now just to make sure that there are or are not other versions available. Now what I'll see on here is things that I've downloaded and things that are currently actually installed. And I can check release notes for all of them, so that's always a good part. I can also delete the images, so like 603, I know I'm not going to go to that right now, so I may as well not take up the space for it. Just go ahead and remove it off of the system on there. I'll only be left with the one that I'm actually running. Now, starting with, we got a 609, that's even newer, cool. So starting with where I'm at, or where I want to go anyway, this particular device can go directly from 603 to 609. So nothing too big of a deal to worry about on there. Okay, so I'll go ahead and download that. We'll start the process for it. I can move over to the other firewall, do stuff in the background, so it's not a huge deal in taking up my time on here. Okay? But go ahead and we'll trigger that. We'll come back and have to do the installation and all the other fun things. Also be aware, whenever I'm installing software, it's going to reboot the box, so this is not a live fire process, which means that you'll be having an interruption in the service. Schedule yourself a maintenance window, do what you need to do. The downloading portion right here is not going to have any interruption on user service, well, I guess other than possibly degraded bandwidth, depending on what you have going on. But generally speaking, no interruption in actual user traffic on there. Okay, so we'll kind of watch for that. I guess since I'm talking enough, we can go ahead and wait for this one to finish. But anyway, that's going to be the process for downloading a piece of software. Do this at any point in time, and then schedule our maintenance windows for actually doing the installation of it. Okay, so we're good to go on this. Successfully downloaded. It is preloading it into the software manager. So what we'll notice on here, that download button that we clicked before is going to end up changing to an install button, or an install link that we'll get here once this is actually done. So once we've all loaded into place, got things ready to go. So we're perfectly cool with that. At least as long as it takes to go from 99% to 100%. Okay, there we go. So now we're complete. So close on that, and this will refresh and see the install button right there. We'll wait on that, but that kind of gives us where we need to be. Now, on my other one, which is in a much older version of software, this one is going to be completely different. All right, so let's go to Device and Software down here. I suppose I shouldn't say completely different, but it will be different. All right, and check now on that. And again, we're going to see some things on here. Now, it's also very interesting. Remember on my first firewall, I was seeing software releases in the 6.1 train. Okay? I won't even see them on here because they're not possible because I haven't gone into the 6.0 train. Now, even doing this, I will need to go into the initial 6.0 before I go and jump all the way to 6.09. So little things to kind of, I guess, think about or pay attention to on there in terms of the direction that we need to go for things. Because I'd be able to download the stuff. I could download 609 and get ready for that and do what I need to do, but it's not going to let me actually jump into that installation on there. Maybe we'll go ahead and do that just to kind of to test and demonstrate that part on there. So I'm going to go ahead and download 6.09. Okay, so we see on here, we get exactly the message that I just told you about. So looking at it, successfully downloaded just fine, tried to preload in the manager. However, the 6.0 base image has to be installed before we can actually go to it. So it is good that it prompts us and tells us these things. Granted, took a little while for that to happen, but, you know, life does go on in there. So first thing we'll have to do is do an incremental upgrade, and this may add then to your maintenance window. Right? So we go to 6.0 first, go ahead and download this, get this installed, then we can go and bring in the 6.09 image and jump up to that, go ahead and do the install. So keep in mind that method of planning as you're going through maintenance window stuff.
Oh, you gonna take me home tonight? Oh, down beside that red firelight. Oh, you gonna let it all hang out, fat bottom girls, you make the rockin' world go round.
Alright, so we have successfully completed this one now, got everything done. Oh, close. Hit the button correctly. Now we can actually go ahead and install it, which is what I'm going to go ahead and do. Nice thing about being a lab is I don't have to worry about maintenance window stuff. So we'll kind of get this thing going on. Yep, yes, it has upgraded features, all the fun stuff. I didn't have anything to commit, I don't think. Cancel, nope, commit was grayed out, so I am good with that. And make sure that we're good to go. Alright, so while it checks on that and installs it, I'm going to go click over here and get 6.09 up and running. And kind of moving things right along.
It's astounding. Time is fleeting. Madness takes its toll. But listen closely.
Not for very much longer.
I've got to keep control. I remember doing the time war, drinking.
Alright, so we've come back in. Everybody has rebooted right now, so we'll see on, Lab 2 anyway, that we have rebooted into 6.09, so we're good to go on that. We have finally rebooted into 6.00 on this one, which means that now I can go back to my software page. I see 6.09 there, and we can go ahead and download that bad boy, and should not give us an error this time around. Okay, so now the answer is much better that we successfully downloaded, preloaded it, and loaded it into the software manager. So go ahead and close on here, watch this change to install. I might go ahead and remove one of my older images just to give myself a little bit more space on there. Yep, remove that bad boy, and then click on install right here. And we'll wait, and it'll, of course, reload the device, so that'll kind of get us back into it. But make sure then when we're good to go, we'll go ahead and check the dashboard, make sure the software version is right, because that can really get us into our next state from our standpoint, which is high availability.
You can't touch this. You can't touch this. You can't touch this. You can't touch this. My music hits me so hard, makes me say, oh my Lord, thank you for blessing me. What am I to rhyme and to hype me? It feels good when you know you're down. A super dope homeboy from the Oak Town, and I'm known as such, and this is you can't.
Okay, we are back, so let's go ahead and log in. Our last check here. See if life is good to us. And we are at 6.09. So both of our devices at the same release right now. This makes it available for us to set up high availability, and really just kind of keeps us up to date on things as far as feature sets and stuff like that goes. If you wanted to update to 6.1, go ahead and do that too. One step at a time, though. And again, the software devices will let you know that. So, big thing about the wonderful world of software updates is to essentially go into the device page and click on software. All of the list will be there. We can always do the check now to make my list current, depending on how long it's been since you've done anything on there. But watch for the major upgrades. We must go to a .0 first, and then we can go to other ones. So like we could not go to that 609. We had to go to the I guess we'll call it a 0.0. But whatever number 6.0.0 in this case, we had to go to that first before we could go to any subsequent upgrades. So that, in a nutshell, though, is how we go about doing software updates on our Palo Alto firewalls. I hope this has been informative for you, and I'd like to thank you for viewing.